Everybody, welcome. I am Michelle Risser, and I'm going to be here with Steffeny Feld in just a second. As soon as Instagram will let us link up here, I'm going to send Steffeny an invite real quick. How's everybody doing today? Happy Friday. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I see a couple people are here. As soon as we get Steffeny in here, I'll open up the comments. If you want to say hello and just let us know that you stopped by. Steffeny and I are going to be talking about how offering intensives as well as teaching CEUs, that combo can really help you level up your therapy practice and really establish yourself as an expert. So we'll just give it a second here to let Steffeny get in and to let a couple more people join live. Always takes a sec. It still says unable to join. What in the world? I don't know why it's doing that. Hang on just a second. Yeah, I can see you, Steffeny. I can see you in the comments. You're just not on the live with me. It is saying unable to join. Is there a way for you in the live to ask to join or to ask to be let in? Oh, okay. Wait, here, you did. I gotcha. Here we go. Here we go. Woohoo! All right. Hi. You know, it always takes a minute and it's always different every time, I swear. Like once I have it down, it just kept saying unable to join, unable to join.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
We
well.
got it.
We're here
Yay.
now.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Let me figure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hi, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. I am here with one of my business besties, my good friend, Steffeny Feld. Steffeny is an expert in helping therapists get started with offering intensives into their practices. And this is something that I have done really for the last 2 years, but really leaning into it this year. In fact, that's the only way that I take new clients is for intensives. And that has really allowed me to focus on my other income streams, teaching CEUs, my consulting business. So that's what Steffeny and I are here to talk to you about today, how offering intensives and teaching CEUs work together so well to give you a really balanced practice where you can have more than one stream of income. You can really step into your expertise. It's a way to level up and get out of that one-on-one, hourly therapy grind. So I am excited for this. Steffeny and I have been so excited. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how those things work together, Steffany's work, how you can get started with intensives, and then you're in for a treat. I am going to take Steffeny through a quick version of my strategic sessions that I do with all of my clients who are working on CEUs to help you get really clear on your next few steps and how you're going to get your own CEUs going.
Yay.
Sound good?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited about that.
Me too. Okay, well, Steffeny, tell us about your work with intensives. How did you personally get started with intensives? How did you get started in supporting other therapists with intensives?
Totally. Yeah. So it's really funny because when I first heard about intensives, I wasn't in private practice yet. I was like a newer therapist. And my initial reaction was like suspicion. Like, how can that be possible? That you could go away for a weekend or a week and do this like really deep, focused work. I was like, what? That's not what I know about, blah, blah, blah. And so I just sort of left it there. But like over time, it just kept coming back around. And then once I started my own practice and got trained in EMDR, I thought, I think this might I think this might work together really, really well. So I tried it and it was, like you said, it was very eye-opening, how different the experience can be, like how much more profound the insights and change can be. So I was just like hooked. I wanted to do it all the time. So once I started doing it more and sharing it more with other therapists in my community, people were saying, "Well, what is it and how do you do it?" And after so many conversations like that, I thought, maybe I should make this into something structured. So it started with a workshop, and now it's a whole course and DIY templates and all kinds of things, that I get to share with therapists all the time and say, "Did you know there's another way to do therapy besides the way that we've always done it?"
Yes. And I feel like right now, in these times that we're in, you need other ways to do
Yeah,
therapy more than ever.
yes,
Because there's all kinds of changes coming, I think, with insurance, and nobody knows what that's going to look like. We just all feel it in the air. Our profession is changing.
exactly. And I think there's more urgency, that like something happens and you're like, "Oh gosh, that hit me really hard and I think I need help." And I think
Mm-hmm.
our clients feel that too. And so I think there's a lot of interest in being able to say, "Okay, I don't want to just come for 1 hour once a week. I
Mm-hmm.
want to really like get into this," and how that can be like really, really appealing for people and like just a good way
Mm-hmm.
to help us.
Absolutely. And it truly is. There is research that backs up that, at least with EMDR intensive,
Yeah,
it truly is the fastest way to heal trauma.
yes,
It's not necessarily the best. It's definitely not the only,
right, right.
and week by week, EMDR does work, but it's just proven that intensives work faster
Mm-hmm.
because you're
Mm-hmm.
not doing the whole, go home for a week, come back, deal with all the stressors of everyday life, get started again on a target, barely get going, have to leave again. There's not all that start and stop, start and stop. You can just go.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty amazing. And I was looking at research of other modalities too, and even with CBT, they found that it's that intensives are certainly not less effective. I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's nice to know. It's not like you're not harming
Right.
anyone. Um,
Exactly. Well, so if it's just a better way for you to
yeah,
work because it works better with your schedule or your lifestyle, it's working just as well. It's not causing harm. It's not. So even if it's not remarkably better, it's still going to provide the same, just in a condensed way.
exactly. Exactly. Whatever is accessible for clients and like works well for us and what we have going on in our
Yeah.
lives.
And you know what? I have to say, this is kind of a meta side note for anybody out there who's interested in business or diversified income streams. You started teaching people how to do intensives because people asked you. You started
Hmm.
doing intensives and people asked you, how do I do
Yep.
that? It was the exact same for me with teaching CEs. I started teaching CEs as a diversified income stream. I was also doing lots of other things: coaching, writing, creating courses, and CEs are the one that took off.
Yeah.
It's, to me, that's the easiest diversified income stream to start with because everybody needs them.
Yeah.
So why not take good ones
Right.
with people you like,
Right.
So that was taking off, and people started asking me, well, how do I get started with that? And I did the exact same thing that you did, which was I followed what people were asking, and I
Yes.
turned it into a course, a group program, and my one-on-one consulting business. So anybody out there, pay attention. What are people asking you how to do?
My gosh. Yes. And
Do you
just go.
have a really cool modality that you do? Do you have a specific style or even your lived experience? What are people asking you about?
Yeah. And I can see Kim Tolson is with us. And I think you
Yay. Hi, Kim.
story, that people were like, "Well, how do you travel and offer therapy? Or how have you been billing your own insurance?" And I think a lot of us in the therapy profession are just natural teachers. And so
Mm-hmm.
we want to share, when you find something that you're like, "Oh, this is just amazing," or "This has been so great." You want to make it easy for people. You want to share
Mm-hmm.
how you did it. And so it just like is an overflow. And it's really nice to get paid for things that you already love to do and that you'd already be doing anyway.
Absolutely. And the thing is, we want to help everybody who asks us, well, how do I get started with that? But I don't, I know in my schedule, I don't have time to do free consultation. I don't have time for people to pick my brain. My schedule is booked out. So, offering consultation is a way that they can get my full attention. I will share, I'm very generous with anything I know, all of my tools, templates, like you got it, but you got to book with me.
Yep, yep, exactly. Oh,
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well, that's so exciting. And, if anybody out there doesn't know what that thing is, well, I don't know what people are asking me about. It sounds like you need to get more visible. You need to put yourself out there more. You need to network with people, get to know people. Because if they're not asking you about something, it means they don't know what you do. Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
believe everybody has their unique area of expertise. You just have to discover it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Yeah,
people want to know what you know
that's
about.
right.
So I'm like, I was so shy for so long not to say, oh, well, I know about this or, whatever. But once people hear it, they're like, what? Tell me more about that. And boom, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do I help people create CEs for their courses? I absolutely do. How about we'll talk about that in a little bit because I don't want to hijack this part of the conversation, but I do definitely want to let people know, how I support therapists, how Steffeny supports therapists, and really how we're doing that together as part of the TheraBundle. Um, yes.
Yay.
Yay. So, oh, let's talk about how intensives can support all of the other things that we want to do, all of our other income streams.
Yes. So I know you said this is part of your story. It's a part of my story. When I started doing intensives, and now many of the people who are in the intensive design lab as well, you're doing this deep transformative work. You can charge a more premium rate. And so it's possible to, if this is a good fit for your life, you could work less hours in your therapy practice and still maintain the same income, or you can work the same hours and grow your income, whatever is a
Mm-hmm.
good fit. But for me, I really did like a jigsaw puzzle with my schedule. And so I had 1 week on with an intensive or at my therapy sessions and 1 week off. And on the off week, I could focus on other things like building my course or taking trainings about business. There's like so many things to know. And it just gave this room in my schedule that I never ever would have had. Because when you're doing weekly therapy, like if you're doing therapy every day of your business, well, there's not really room to work on your business.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely not room to develop multiple streams of income,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the intensives go so well together because you can condense your therapy time while not losing income, while not feeling, it's just so fulfilling. So you feel for me, I was much less depleted and burnt out. I had much more energy to like bring back to my family
Mm-hmm.
and bring to other projects that I was excited about. So that was like a total life hack that I could not have predicted at all.
Absolutely.
Sounds
And
like similar to you, right?
yeah, absolutely. And I actually don't charge more for my intensives. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people do. I just charge my regular, my self-pay clinical
Mm-hmm.
rate. But even so, I am working, on a week where I have intensives. Let's say I have one or two intensives. That's two nervous systems I'm
Yeah.
co-regulating with instead of
Yeah.
10. And those of us who are trauma therapists know how important that is. Like when you have back to back, those are all different people that you have to regulate with, build rapport with, connect with, be present with.
Yeah.
And for me, I find it easier to do that with one person for 3 or 6 hours.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then it's one case note. It's one, you know,
Yeah,
one
exactly.
history that you're remembering, one person's story that you're making all the connections with. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yes, it makes a very big difference in terms of what's happening inside of our mind and our emotions and body. Um, for sure.
Absolutely. So we have a question from Caney
Yay.
Creek Counseling. How long of are your intensives? I'll
Yeah.
start. Mine are 3 hours or 6 hours. I also offer multiple days, which can be on a case by case basis. However, my 3 and 6 hours are by far my best sellers.
Hmm.
I
Hmm. Yeah.
honestly find the 3 hour is not difficult at all to sell people on. You can start with your current clients, offer them an extended session.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's the same that I do. Um, I tend to do the 3-day intensives, and I integrate EMDR and IFS, so that
Ooh.
works really well. 3 days, and each day is they're consecutive, and each day is 3 hours. But depending on the type of therapy you do or the type of clients that you see, there's so many formats. There's so many ways to do it. Um, couples therapists are doing weekend long intensives all day because two people, you have double the
Mm-hmm.
double the work to do. And then it can be modified for teens or kids or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much room to be creative and customize it to your specific practice.
Yes, there was actually a really cute movie about that called Hope Springs. I think that was the name of it. It's
Oh,
so Steve Carell plays the therapist,
yeah.
and the couple is Meryl Streep and Tommy Lee Jones, and they go for like an intensive couples therapy in a cute B&B type of setting, and it's a really good
Oh my
movie.
gosh, I'm gonna look it up. That's so funny.
Yeah, I don't think they ever call it like an intensive, but it's a retreat.
Right. And actually, I've been doing a little bit more research about, where intensives originated, which is one of those things where you're kind of like, well, was there a real birth point? But I found out that Freud started doing longer sessions,
Okay.
and the only he moved to a hour model is because his caseload was filling up, and he wanted to accommodate that. But prior to that, he preferred doing longer sessions. And then once that kind of like routine happened, and he's kind of like the father that everybody looks to, that's what the insurance companies went off of as well. So,
Oh my gosh. I had heard that Freud was the kind of the forefather of modern psychotherapy.
right,
And
right,
to think that Freud started with intensives, and that's probably where we should have
right.
stayed.
I
But
know.
because of BAPs and insurance and all that, it was like, no, pack in more people, more,
Right.
53-minute session.
Right. But that just blew my mind because I had never heard that before. I'm sure there's a lot more stories like that it never even occurred to me to ask or wonder about that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I love intensives. I plan to continue to offer them. I actually am starting to book for January. I really only do a couple a
Yeah.
month. I still have a small caseload, about 10 to 12-ish clients a week. I also do kind of a heavier week and a lighter week.
Yeah.
I was doing therapy one week, my consulting business the next week, and I found that that was just too many therapy clients in a day because I was cramming them all into one week. So I
Hmm.
have made a so one week I'll do like 15 therapy clients including intensive, so I would count one intensive as maybe 4 of those sessions,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then the following week I'll do a handful, maybe 5, you
Oh,
know and I
yeah.
do still have a caseload of 25 to 30-ish folks who I see hourly who've been working with me for a long time.
Sure.
I didn't stop working with them and refer them out. I just said I'm not taking any more new clients for one-on-one hourly.
Yeah. That's great.
And eventually, clients, if you happen to see this, don't worry, it'll be a while. You'll have a ton of notice. But you know, one of these days I will be like no longer doing one on one, so I can focus on teaching, consulting, and intensives.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
But yeah, we all have to kind of do what works for us.
Exactly. And I mean, life changes, what we need
Hmm.
in a given moment changes. So it's good to
It
just like
does.
have those options and be able to make informed decisions. So that's,
Absolutely. Yeah. So you had mentioned your jigsaw puzzle schedule. I call
mhm.
it scheduled Tetris.
Yes.
And I look at my schedule every quarter, and I actually still use random shout out. I still use the freebie from our friend, our entrepreneurial therapist friend, Audrey
Yes.
Shane. her balanced schedule freebie. I pull that thing up every quarter, and she walks you through, okay, first put it like your non-negotiables, put those in first, your kid pickup, your and then put in your self-care, your workout, your and she kind
Mhm.
of works it backwards.
Yep. Yep.
um and that's just one of those tools that you pick up. And speaking of tools, there are a ton of tools in TheraBundle.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because my contribution to TheraBundle is all about scheduling and about if you're considering offering
Mm-hmm.
intensives or do, how could you make that work with your schedule? So that is always a topic that comes up in the Facebook group and with
Mm-hmm.
therapists who are in the program. And so I've kind of taken a wide range of what different therapists have done, what I've done, what others have done,
Mm-hmm.
and put it all in the presentation and in the workbook so that you kind of have a leg up on
Yeah.
what are the possibilities, because there are some pretty clever things that people have done
Mm-hmm.
as they're starting with intensives, or like more like when you have a pretty steady stream, okay, how to pivot
Mm-hmm.
for different seasons. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you work for yourself in private practice, your schedule can be whatever you need it to be. So I've really leaned into not being rigid about my schedule and being fine with changing it quarterly. I have mostly my hours I like to work. Like, I
Hmm.
really only like to work from 8 a.m. until 2 or 3 p.m. My
Yeah.
brain shuts off at 3 p.m. So those kind of things will stay, but which days of the week I'm working,
Hmm.
where I'm blocking things, like I'll look at that quarterly and change it based on my family's needs and my own needs. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I finally had to let go of the rigid need to have a schedule that always looks the same,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
mine does not.
Right, right. I know that felt so good to me for so long, and then there just came a point where it's like, okay, there's
Hmm.
more things on the board these days, so we have to kind
Yeah,
of go with.
if you only have your therapy practice and you don't have children or a family, you don't have pets that will ever have, a need
Right,
outside of the ordinary. You don't have a car that, okay, never mind. Everybody has stuff. There is no therapist that can
right.
have a rigid
Person,
schedule that never changes.
right, right.
I was going to paint a picture of one, but then I realized
It's,
that that's not a thing. Life happens.
yeah.
All right, Stephanie, I want to run you through your own little roadmap
Yeah.
process to get you started with your CE. So I did a little bit of the footwork ahead of time. So the first thing I do with everybody I work with is we choose the organization that you're going to
Mhm.
apply to. And a lot of people think that's backwards. They think of coming in with their course already built out and then we're going to apply for CEs. That's
Yeah.
harder. That is
Yeah.
harder because each organization has different rules for the types of content that are allowed. Um, rules about how long you have to teach before you take a break. Really specific things. So I recommend that everybody start by choosing the organization and then build the CE with their requirements in mind.
Oh, that's
Okay.
brilliant.
Okay. So for you, the first thing I have everybody do is look at your state. Find
Hmm.
out if your state approves CEs. About
Hmm.
50% of the states do, and that's often an easier path. It's often less expensive, fewer regulations, a quicker way to get started for most people. Keep in mind, if your state does not approve CEs, you can do another state
Oh,
if you want to. And most state boards will accept other state CEs. So, for example,
question.
me in Ohio,
Yeah.
if you had a CE in Missouri, I could get credit for it.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay. Because I
yeah.
have done a CE for like through Missouri. I was
Mm-hmm.
sponsored by a group practice to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody who took it was in Missouri. So I thought, okay, we're safe. But if I move and offer it to a
Mm-hmm.
larger group of people, if they could still get credit, even if I'm,
Absolutely. Yeah.
oh,
So there are a handful of states that don't really have any requirements about pre-approval. So you can say this course meets the requirements for, like, Kansas CEs, for instance.
interesting.
Um, or you could say many states accept other state CEs. Please check with your board.
Hmm. Hmm. Right, just to be safe.
So Missouri is one of the 50% that approves CEs.
Wow.
So I would start with Missouri for you.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing you want to do is choose your organization. So let's just say we're going to start with Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so for everyone out there, I suggest do your state if your state is available.
Mm-hmm.
And then next, go to your larger national professional organization. So for you, Steffeny, as a social worker, it's going to be ASWB or NBCC or NASW.
Okay.
I prefer to work with ASWB. I have helped a ton of therapists become ASWB providers. I just feel like their content list is a little more forgiving. The NASW content list is so restrictive. There are
Interesting.
things
That's
on there that would shock you, like somatic therapies and, you know, in general, anything that's holistic, alternative, complementary is something that they kind of frown on. So you have to find creative ways to do that, which you can.
sure.
I love helping
Sure.
people do that. But so for you, number one, Missouri.
Yes.
Okay. Number two, consider ASWB.
Sounds good.
So, oh, hey, did you see that? I was going to, and it gave us balloons. Cool. Okay. So you want to take a look at that application. I have it here. I can send it to you when we hop off. And you want to look at the timeline for submission. So anybody out there, take a look. Once you've decided, look at the timeline. They vary widely. For Missouri, they only require 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
But some of them,
Okay.
like ASWB, or I mean APA, is twice a year they approve. ASWB, they require at least 90 days. So take a look at that timeline. If you're planning a live training, you want to plan it for after that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to take a look at your state, any specific CEs that they require. So in Missouri, it's suicide prevention, ethics, and cultural competency.
Mm-hmm.
If you do those, by no means is it required to do those,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to make your training more marketable because people need those.
Right.
But it could possibly create some additional hoops for you to jump through too.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. That was my thought is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
especially with ethics, we're always thinking, oh gosh, what's a new interesting thing that I can do for this training? So
guess what I
yeah.
learned? I learned the secret to that. And it's a dark secret. You're not going to like it.
Okay.
The reason ethics trainings are so boring is because they usually require that your entire training be about ethics. So, for instance, I tried to do a training in Ohio about the ethics of burnout and secondary trauma and how it could impact your clients.
Sure.
Right? But when I turned it into the state of Ohio for ethics, they were like, well, right here is this whole section is intro to burnout and secondary trauma. That's not ethics. You got to take that out. Ethics is your ethical code says X, Y, Z. Here are the ways in which you are violating that.
Right. Which, you know, 3 hours of ethics then that's a lot of ethics.
That's a lot of ethics, considering that my course that I really liked and I was really proud of, it was a 2-hour course, and they're like, you could maybe get 15 minutes of ethics out of this, because that's how long I was actually talking about the ethical code. So you got ethics are tough. I'm just gonna put that right out there. I would not start with ethics CEs.
Yeah.
I am cooking up a few myself for next year about the ethics of like value-based care that's coming down the road, and that, you know, the ethics of serving your clients in the current political climate and stuff like that. But they're going to be more dry.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good to know.
Yeah. So
maybe.
So you want to look at that. Look at those special required topics. You want to make sure you check your organization for an approved topics list. And if your state does not have a content list, go to ASWB and look at their list. That's going to give you a good guide for most people.
Great.
Okay. And then once you've gotten that, you want to get that application in front of you and just step by step, one thing at a time, block out, if you can, a couple hours a week and just start chipping away at the checklist. There are things you're going to need, like things you may not have thought of, like you might need a refund policy, cancellation policy, You're going to need learning objectives, which are tricky. You're going to need to have your resume polished up. So everybody, if you think you may ever do this, polish up that resume.
Right.
Get yourself a nice professional bio and a good headshot. You're going to need those. So there's lots of stuff you can start working on right away. Like everybody out there who's thinking I may want to do this someday, find your resume and polish it up.
Right. That doesn't take too much
Yeah.
time. Interesting.
Yeah, so that should get you started.
Oh, could I ask one more question?
Of course.
Is it a similar process for EMDRIA providers?
Yes, EMDRIA does have their own process. Okay. But a few of the people in my Therapist Educators Academy have gotten approved for EMDRIA, and it's not hard. Yeah. It's just they have their own set of criteria and topics. It does have to be an advanced EMDR topic.
Do you recommend people getting approved for a specific topic or to be a provider?
That's such a good question. If you want to do this a lot and make this a big part of your career, then you want to get provider status, but you can't always do that right away. So for instance, if you want to become a provider for ASWB, you have to have done 3 courses in the past. You have to have taught, now they don't have to have been approved for CEs, but they have to be appropriate for CEs.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I suggest if you are one of the lucky people whose state does offer this, then you could do the 3 through your state and then go for ASWB provider status and then really broaden your reach.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
And as far as your state, whether it's single course or a provider status, that depends on your state. Let's see, I'm trying to look at your application real quick. It looks like yours might be per course. Yeah, separate application is filled for each course submitted. So yours does by course.
Okay.
So you'll do 3 courses, 3 different applications, and then you can take it all to ASWB.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Cece's here.
So much
Cece
easier
says that's
to
my plan.
Ask a person. Like, it's so nice to just ask you instead of having this really dense paper or website in front of me and I'm thinking, I'm reading the words, but why isn't it getting in my head, you know? Thank you.
Yes, it is. I've kind of made it my personal mission in life to help therapists step into their expertise and get it out there, because I can't stand the thought that paperwork is getting in the way of you sharing, you know, your unique expertise. So I'm good at paperwork. I'm a big nerd. I created a handbook for myself. I printed out all the applications. I study these things.
Oh my gosh.
Because I want to demystify that for anybody who wants to become a CEU provider, because like I said, paperwork, bureaucracy, that should not be what's getting in your way.
Right. And when you think about it, there's total job security because there's a ton of therapists and we all have to get relicensed.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, you always need CEs, and people want good ones.
Yeah.
People are bored of sitting through someone reading to them from slides.
Yep.
Or even worse yet, like I'm guilty. I do this with my supervision ones. You get that magazine in the mail and you just take the test. You basically just paid money for a certificate. Yeah. You got nothing out of it.
Right. You
like,
didn't
we're sick of that.
At all. Yeah. That's amazing.
Oh, Cece, so sweet. Oh. Cece says, Michelle's one of my woman crushes in this season for this reason. Oh, thank you.
Love it.
Any other questions, Steffeny, about, you know, getting you started? You've got a plan?
I think so. I really appreciate you shedding light on the ethics, because I was thinking, oh, that's a great one. Everybody's always looking for interesting ethics. And then to think, well, maybe that's not the place to start.
Don't start there.
Get your feet.
Start with more of a clinical topic is usually the easiest path forward, because those are going to be accepted by everybody.
Okay.
So start with maybe some clinical aspects of intensives. And then once you've gotten your feet wet, then you could look at, like, how could I do maybe, you know, something with ethics?
Right.
Because I know there's ethics in there. It's just, it's not as fun. It's more dry. There's more requirements. I want you to have fun.
Yeah, right. You don't want your first experience to feel like, whoa.
No, you don't. You want to do something you're excited about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I didn't realize the thing about 3. So I'm like, I'm so close. I've done 1, I can, that could be like a goal for
There
next year. So
you go. Do one more and then get your provider status through
yeah,
ISWB, and then you can offer them all.
that's amazing.
Yay! Yeah, because you're already teaching this stuff. Why not get some CEs for it?
Hey.
Your quick side note here. Now, people have asked me, can I take your course about CEs and get CEs? No. Most of the time, with some exceptions, most of the time professional development is not covered. It's things that you will use with your
hmm
clients. So
hmm
you would almost have two separate tracks. You'd be teaching the clinical aspects of intensives for people to do with their clients, but then you're also in your other business,
Right.
supporting therapists who want to do intensives.
Gotcha. That's a nice way to break it up too. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, Michelle, I reached out to you during launch about doing a 24-hour play therapy retreat. Yes, I love retreats. You can absolutely do retreats with CEs. You can do a mix and match, some CEs, some, you could throw in some yoga or some light therapy or whatever, and those wouldn't be covered for CEs, but they'd still be part of your overall
Oh my God.
package. So I love a retreat.
Amazing. What's your offer in TheraBundle
Yeah.
this year?
So my offer is my best-selling course. It's my self-paced Diversify Your Income with CEUs course. It's a monster. I'm always adding to it. It basically takes you through what Steffeny and I have been talking about as a step-by-step process to get approved as a CE provider. It is chock full of bonuses. In fact, several of the TheraBundle contributors have created bonuses. Um, Things like getting over your fear of public speaking, things like how to present on Zoom and do all the neat little breakouts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Managing your nervous system while you're on stage. So there's great bonuses in there. There's step by step through the process.
hmm
And there's lots of tools and templates, things that you can just copy and repeat. So yeah, everything
Wow.
you need in there, it's in TheraBundle. It's normally $197, and it is part of TheraBundle for $100 total. I
Oh
know
my
some people get
God.
confused about this. No, you can get access to all 60 offers for 100 total, including my offer that's 197.
I
Yes,
can't wait. Now that it's
I
like
know.
at the top, like I'm sure I have it, or if not, I am getting it. Um, but now it's at the top of my
Mm-hmm.
mind, so I don't have to like find the information or anything. I can just go to my email and log in. So it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. And they've also made it really easy that once you purchase, you just go through basically almost like a spreadsheet, and you just click, click, click. Here's the ones I want. And all of those creators will send you your access by December 10th at the latest, probably sooner, but they don't want you to have to sign up separately for a million
right,
things. Um, so
right.
they've made it a lot easier. So I did have a question I wanted to answer, which is about having a separate business for CEs.
Oh,
This is one of my favorite things about CEs is you don't need a separate business.
yeah.
I do have a second business for my consulting. So when you are meeting with me to work on your CEU, that's a separate business. I'm not acting as a therapist. But when I'm teaching a CE, I am acting as a therapist. So what
Oh,
I
yeah.
ask myself is my license, involved? And on a CE, my license is on that, flyer. I am presenting as a mental health professional. So I put all my CEs under my therapy practice.
Yeah.
I do have a DBA because I wanted a business that was more broad if I ever want to do a big conference or something. So my CE company is called Strong Blossom Inc.,
Oh
but it is just part of my therapy practice.
my gosh, that's so great. It
Yeah.
just takes the pressure out of trying to figure out all that other stuff. That it's like,
And
nope.
to be honest, when I first started with diversified income streams, I was trying to get a coaching business off the ground, and I was in a coaching um, cohort, and a lot of that time was setting up this second business, because when you're coaching and consulting, you do kind of need it separate.
hmm
And so I started teaching CEs while I was waiting on that to take off,
Sure.
and the
Yeah.
CEs took off, and the other stuff has taken years. It's finally taking off now, but I've
Right.
been at it for 4 years.
That I mean, I think that brings it back to the thing you started with, which is just listen to what people are asking for and
Mm-hmm.
follow wherever the energy or wherever the momentum is, because you
Mm-hmm.
really cannot anticipate it. It can happen like very, very suddenly. It can happen like just over time. So I love that. That's so wise.
Absolutely. Stephanie, do you have a calculator nearby?
Yes, yes,
Can you pull up your calculator? We're going to do some
yes.
bundle math.
Ooh, okay.
Okay,
Let's pull it
so
up.
I picked out some offers in TheraBundle that I think will really help anybody out there who's resonating with what Steffeny and I are talking about.
Wait.
Offering intensives, teaching CEs, using that to level up your expertise. And if you go to TheraBundle and sign up for 60 things, you're going to be overwhelmed. Don't sign up for 60 things. I mean, you can if you want to and kind of save them in a library.
Right,
But,
right. Because
so
my
many
I
people
like
are not going to do 60 programs. I suggest that, 5 to 10 is the
mm-hmm,
sweet spot.
mm-hmm.
So I picked out a handful that I think will really help. So you ready with your calculator?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we have Megan Tack's digital product blueprint. Develop your first passive income product idea. This could really work for an on-demand CE. And this is $197.
Love it.
Then we have Stephanie's scheduling intensives for more income, energy, and impact. That is going to help you format and schedule your intensives to free up your therapy schedule so that you can work on your other income streams. That one's $97.
Woohoo. Valued at,
Uh,
right? We're gonna
yes, valued. That's how much it would cost if you went on and just bought that.
right, right.
Yes.
Versus
If you went to Stephanie's website and bought that, $97.
right, right.
So then my course, Diversify Your Income with CEUs, step by step, becoming a CEU provider, and that is normally $197. Okay, then we have another digital product, DFY Passive Income course for creating and selling a digital product. So this could help you create something that you could sell alongside. If you're a CE provider in a certain area of expertise, you could create, a guide or write a book or, even use the tools in this course to help you with your on-demand CEs as well. This one's $197.
Okay.
Then we have Claire Feldman. Get started with blogging. Boost your SEO and attract more ideal clients. When you are leveling up as an expert, blogging is a great way to establish your expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly recommend blogging when it's optimized for SEO. If not, you're just putting it into the void. You got to know a little bit about SEO to get people's eyeballs on it. So this one's $47.
Nice.
Here's one I'm super excited about. If anybody has ever worked with me, I love a Google Doc workbook. I love a branded, clickable, fillable workbook. I make them for almost everything I do. I'm surprised I didn't make one for this Instagram Live. No, if you've worked with me, you've gotten one of these workbooks.
Yeah.
And there is a course in here called Form Frenzy, a mini course on Google Forms. And this helps you use Google Forms for your quizzes, for your, you can do so many things with Google Forms.
Yeah, I do feedback and testimonials on Google Forms.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I do a weekly check-in on Google Forms. So not only do I love the Google Doc workbooks, I use the Google Forms too, and you can brand them all to match. You can change your colors and your headers. So there's a mini course on Google Forms in here for $47. Now, if you prefer video to writing, there is a Tube Quick Start.
Ooh, yeah.
I think her name is Gulchi. Is that how you pronounce
Yeah,
Gulchi?
yeah, and she's brilliant. Oh my gosh.
Okay, yes. To get you started on YouTube, if you'd rather do videos than blogs, you can use YouTube the same way for SEO.
Amazing.
And that one's $50. Okay, and then finally, I'll just do one more.
Yeah.
And this one is How to Use Google Analytics.
Ooh.
GA4 Made Simple by Jules White. This is how you know if your marketing is paying off, if people are getting to your blog, if you're showing up in Google. And I know this is just complete gibberish if you don't know anything about it. So this course is going to walk you through how to track your website traffic using Google Analytics, and it is $49.
Amazing.
Yay! So what did we come up to? What's our
The
total?
total value is $881.
All right, y'all. $881. How many did I say? Six?
Oh,
6 or 7.
yeah, yeah.
And you're going to get a value of $881. All I know I sound like I'm in an infomercial, but we really do all get really excited about TheraBundle because it's an incredible deal. You're going to get 881 by just getting these that will support your goals, for $100.
Mhm.
So,
Incredible. And I didn't even,
yeah.
there's so many ways that connects. I wasn't even thinking about how those ones really work well with CEUs. So that's amazing.
Yeah, well, because you do have to market them, and that's
Yeah.
the place where people kind of freeze, like a deer in headlights. You mean I got to market this thing? Well, yeah. How else are people going to know about it?
Right.
You got to market everything you do.
Yep.
But we got you,
Yeah.
and I'm super excited. The link is in my bio. If you're following Steffeny, the link is it in your bio as well? Okay, so go to either of our bios.
Amazing.
Yeah. Anything else? Any last thoughts, Steffeny? Any last questions? Anybody who's joining?
I'm just so thankful. You're just like holding so much information in your brain, and it's so nice to just like get what I need in the moment I need it, and I appreciate it a lot.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I can't wait
Yeah.
to course in TheraBundle. So
yes. It's problematic when it comes time to figure out what to make for dinner because I'm like, I have nothing left. I am a blank.
Right, same. How do I feed myself?
All right. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by. Thank you, Steffeny, for being here. It's always great to see you.
Yeah.
And we'll talk soon, and we'll see everybody in TheraBundle.
All right. See ya. Bye.